Alright, this is going to be my last video for now, but I'm just going to show you how to do it when you actually have two different binomials. Alright, because this actually means that you're going to probably have two different pieces that are going to have to be put together, because you're going to have two different ways of getting that x to the sixth. Alright, so let me just show you first how I would do it. If this were me, I probably would not even use the equation that I gave you in this situation. What I would probably do is I would say, okay, let's write out, we've got 2 minus x, okay, and then I'm going to write out the binomial expansion for this. And so the exponent is 9, so it'll be 9 over 0 times 3x to the 9th, and then of course no 1, plus 9 1 times 3x to the 8th, times 1 to the 1st, of course, and then 9 2, 3x to the 7th, and then 1 to the 1st, 1 to the 2nd, sorry, plus 9 3, 3x to the 6th, and then 1 to the 3rd, and then plus 9 4, 3x to the 5th, 1 to the 4th, plus 9 5, and I'm actually going to stop here. You could keep going here if you want, but I've already recognized that I've gotten as far as I need to go, right? Because I'm looking for the x to the 6th. Now keep in mind that these are going to distribute to those, right? Once you have this whole binomial distribution, this 2 now needs to distribute to everything, right? So I need to find the x to the 6th. Now this one's not too bad because it's just an x there, and so I need to find the x to the 6th. Here's one of them right here, right? When the 2 distributes to this, that will be one of my x to the 6th. So 2 times 9 3, and then 3x to the 6th, 1 to the 3rd. Now this would be significantly more difficult if this were an x squared, or if this was a 1 over x or something like that. But you could still reason through it in this general format. And then we would go, okay, well, is there another way to get x to the 6th? Well, there is, because this negative x right here is going to be multiplied by the x to the 5th. And when you multiply x times x to the 5th, you're actually going to get a second term that has x to the 6th. So negative x times this right here. So I'm also going to have minus x times 9 4, 3x to the 5th, and then 1 to the 4th. Now I didn't write any more because I already knew that there wasn't any other way that I was going to end up getting x to the 6th. Alright, and so you've got those two terms, and so you should be able to put those two together. You'll of course be using your calculator to do the 9NCR3 and the 9NCR4, which I'm going to do right now. So I got this one as being 84 and that one as being 126. So we'll have 2 times 84 times 3 to the 6th, x to the 6th, and of course 1 to the 3rd will be 1, minus x times 126, 3 to the 5th, x to the 5th, and of course 1 to the 4th will be 1. So we'll bring out our fancy smancy calculator here, and we'll go 84 times 3 to the 6th, and then of course times 2. So that will be 122472, x to the 6th, minus, and then here we'll have 126 times 3 to the 5th, which will be 30618, which of course then will be x to the 6th. And so when we subtract those two, 122472 will be 91854, x to the sixth. Ta-da! There we go. We found the coefficient. Now, I suppose, I apologize, the answer should be 91854 because it's asking for the coefficient of x to the sixth. Okay, so there you go. I hope that's helpful in your homework tonight. A couple of them will be similar to this, but won't require you to find two terms. So, if it just asks you to find the coefficient of x to the sixth, you could do this without having to find the two separate things. The reason why we had two is because there was a binomial being multiplied by our binomial expansion there. The other thing is, keep in mind that if it asks for the constant term, that means you're looking for the x to the 0 power, and so you're trying to find when that is. Now, I guess I should take just a minute to show you how this would work if we were looking for using the actual equation. So if I were to use the t r plus 1 over nr, and then a to the n minus r and b to the r, then what we would do is we would say, okay, well, n of course is 9 here, so I would be looking for two specific terms, right? I know that I'm going to need one that I'm going to multiply the 2 by, which means I need the x to the 6th power here. And so I'm going to write out, I'm going to go, okay, so I'm not sure which term I need yet, but I know that the n is 9. I don't know what r is, so a to the 9 minus, and now a of course is, 3x, so let me just redo that. So 3x to the 9 minus r, and then 1 to the r. Now I need two specific terms. Now this is how we're going to find them. We need the x to the 6th term, and we also need the x to the 5th term, right? And I know I need the x to the 6th because I'm going to multiply the 2 by it. And I also need the x to the 5th term. The x to the 5th term because when I multiply the x by it, it's going to become x to the 6th. And so I need both of those in this expansion, and then I'll be able to multiply by those individual pieces. Now this will be helpful as well as you're looking at the other types of problems if you decide that you want to use the equation. Personally, I like writing it out, as I mentioned in the other video, because I can go through the reasoning and I can see it. In some cases it takes a little bit longer, but in many cases it's a little more straightforward and a little bit easier to use. Now, if I were to do it this way, what I need to do is I need to look at this and realize that I don't need all of this information. If I'm looking for the x to the 6th term, the constant here doesn't really matter right now. It's not going to affect the variable. Okay, I don't need the 1 to the r either because that's not going to affect the variable either. To be honest, I don't need the 3 either, right? Because it's going to be 9 minus 3 to the 9 minus r power. It doesn't matter what that is. It's not going to affect the x. And so really, all I'm paying attention to here is the x to the 9 minus r. And so what r values do I need such that I have the correct x values? Well, I need 9 minus r to give me 6. So 9 minus r equals 6, which means that r equals 3. And I also need 9 minus r to equal 5, which means that r equals 4, right? So that's to give me these two, right? And so I want x to the 6th equals that, and then I did x to the 5th equals that. And so you can see that I found the r3 and I found the r4 without having to write out the whole process. And so at this point, you should then be able to skip right to this step right here, where you would say, okay, well, I'm going to take the r3, which is already going to give me the 6th power, and multiply it by 2. And then I'm going to take the r4, which is going to give me the 5th power, and that I'm going to multiply by the minus x, and then you can go ahead and work through from there. Okay, so I just wanted to see the two different ways of working through this. Again, I've used the equation and I've used the process of reasoning. The process of reasoning, of course, takes a little bit longer because you have to write the whole thing out. But again, it's a little bit more straightforward and simple and just makes a little bit more sense. All right, so, and of course, you don't have to memorize an equation. You don't have to worry about crossing things out because everything is already here. You don't have to worry about that. All right. So anyway, I hope that these videos are helpful for you as you try to go through your homework.